Most modern gardeners are taught that mulch must rot quickly, look tidy and disappear into soil by the end of the season. That belief would have failed ancient farmers outright. In regions where heat baked the ground, frost split roots and rain came unpredictably, organic mulch alone was never enough. Stone mulching emerged not as a regional curiosity, but as a survival response to climates that punished shallow thinking. This method endured because stone does not decay, blow away or collapse under stress. It moderates temperature, manages water, and stabilizes soil in ways modern systems rarely consider. This method appears repeatedly in ancient landscapes because it solved multiple problems at once. Stone mulching appears independently in Andean terraces, Middle Eastern drylands, Mediterranean vineyards, and high desert farming systems. That repetition matters. These cultures were not copying each other. They arrived at the same solution because stone addressed heat, frost and drought simultaneously. During the day, stones absorb heat and prevent soil from overheating. At night, they release that stored warmth slowly, reducing temperature shock. During rain, stones break the force of impact, preventing crusting and erosion. During drought, they reduce evaporation by shielding soil from direct sun and wind. One material, multiple functions, no decay. Stones regulate soil temperature more precisely than organic mulch ever can. Organic mulch insulates well, but it fluctuates rapidly with moisture and decay. Stone behaves differently. Dense stone absorbs thermal energy and releases it gradually, creating a buffering effect that stabilizes root zones. Now, to apply this intentionally, stones must be sized correctly. You see, pebbles heat too quickly and lose heat too fast, while large rocks create dead zones. The optimal range is fist-sized to slightly larger. It's best to spread them evenly, leaving minimal gaps. This really creates a thermal blanket that dampens both extreme heat and sudden cold. In frost-prone areas, stone mulch can delay morning thaw just enough to prevent cell rupture in plant tissue. And in hot regions, it lowers daytime soil temperature by shading but without suffocating. You know, water conservation was actually the original reason stone mulch spread across those dry regions. Ancient farmers, well, they understood evaporation as an enemy long before we had any modern measurements. Stone mulch interrupts evaporation by blocking airflow and sunlight right at the soil surface, and it also creates these little micro-condensation zones. As temperatures drop at night, moisture condenses on the undersides of the stones and, quite remarkably, drips back into the soil. To use this effectively, stones must contact soil directly. Laying fabric underneath, well, it really defeats the system. Bare soil beneath stone mulch becomes biologically active as moisture stabilizes. This is why ancient systems often show higher microbial density under stone layers than the surrounding ground. Stone mulch prevents erosion by slowing water rather than stopping it. These days, erosion control usually relies on putting up barriers, you know. But back in the day, Ancient systems were really all about reducing the speed of water. Velocity reduction, if you will. Stone mulch, interestingly enough, helps to break the impact of rainfall and slows down runoff, which lets water soak in, rather than, well, stripping away the soil. On slopes, stones were quite often set a bit into the soil instead of just being placed on top. This anchors them, and at the same time creates micro-terracing on a really small scale. So, to replicate this, you want to press stones halfway into the surface, especially on inclines. Over time, you'll notice that soil will accumulate beneath them, increasing depth rather than losing it. Weed suppression works a bit differently with stone, and, well, it really does require some patience. Stone mulch suppresses weeds by denying light, but it does not smother them in quite the same way as thick organic layers do. Weed seeds, tend to germinate quite poorly beneath stone because, well, temperature swings are muted and moisture is regulated rather than, say, abundant. The key, really, is persistence. Initial weed pressure may still appear along gaps, but over 1 to 2 seasons, weed density drops significantly as seed banks are disrupted. Ancient farmers, you see, accepted this delay because stone mulch was a long-term investment, not just a seasonal fix. Crop selection determines how effective stone mulch becomes. Stone mulching, really excels with deep-rooted, drought-tolerant crops such as squash, tomatoes, vines, herbs and fruit trees. Shallow-rooted greens may struggle unless soil moisture is already stable. A practical application involves planting first, watering deeply, then laying stones after establishment. This locks moisture in and prevents early stress. For trees, stones can be placed in expanding rings as the canopy grows, just like those ancient orchard systems that lasted for generations. Why did modern gardening dismiss stone mulch despite its durability? Well, stone mulch fell out of favour because, honestly, it just doesn't fit into industrial gardening logic. It requires upfront labour, local materials, and, a bit of long-term thinking. It doesn't sell well in bags, and you see, it doesn't need replacing. These qualities made it, well, invisible in modern systems that are focused on speed and turnover. Yet stone mulch aligns perfectly with survival gardening and historical practice. It trades convenience for resilience, appearance for function, and short cycles for stability. Stone mulching transforms soil slowly, but the results compound over time. After several seasons, soil beneath stone mulch becomes darker, more structured and more biologically active. Worms, fungi and microbes thrive in the stable microclimate. So, as roots penetrate deeper, plants, well, they become less dependent on irrigation. This is why ancient stone-mulched fields were reused for centuries without collapse. The system, you see, fed itself by protecting the soil that supported it. Stone mulch is not a trick, but really it's a mindset rooted in permanence. Stone mulching succeeds when the gardener thinks like a land steward rather than, well, just a seasonal producer. It's not about maximizing yield this year. It's about creating ground that resists climate stress year after year. If this kind of enduring, historically proven knowledge strengthens how you approach soil and survival gardening, do consider subscribing to Hydrohaven for more methods that outlast trends and technologies. And, share this guide with those who value systems built to endure rather than impress.